Hey, welcome to Maximum Bat Speed. Want to do this video here with Katiyana Mauga from Arizona. Just an amazing player. If you pull up her stats, you'd be very impressed with her power, with her average. She's just an amazing player. Now, this video right here is just to help you with the drill that I do when I'm working with my students. It's been very helpful to simplify the swing, especially for you parents out there or coaches out there that are not very familiar with mechanics, or you're having a struggle finding out what can help you to build your players' swings to a higher level. This drill, again, I do it when I'm working with my students, and I really think it'll help you tremendously. Now, first thing I would highly recommend for you to do is just get your player to get to the apex of the gather correctly. And if you don't know how to do that, what I can do here for you is just explain to you in detail what I would look for if I was working with a student in person or if I was doing an online video analysis. Okay, so this drill, I just call it the apex drill. So in other words, they're at the apex of their gather. Now, obviously, many players at the apex of their gather cannot have their foot balanced with their foot up in the air. So for simplicity purposes, have them balance on their toe, just like you see here with Katiyana, what she's doing right here. Okay, and then another thing what I would do is make sure that the hands right here are pretty much right in front of the shoulder area. Alright, and then from here, make sure that the hands are right over the back foot area, just like this. Okay, in other words, you do not want the hands out here, and this is what you see is very common at lower levels at the apex of the gather. And then the hands, if you were to video record them, their hands would be quite a few inches behind the back foot. Okay, that is not what you want. So again, this drill is a very simple drill, but a very effective drill to help your students to start to feel what it feels like to be at the apex of the gather correctly. Okay, another thing you're going to see is this. At this stage of the swing right here, you're going to see that she has kind of a slightly bent arm, just like this. Okay, and it's a little bit more flexion in it than you would see at toe touch, and I'll explain that in a second. Okay, another thing you want to have at this particular stage of the apex of the gather, if I go straight down just like this, you're going to see that there's going to be, or there should be, a gap between the knee, just like I do that line going down, and the ankle right there. There should be a gap right down here. In other words, you do not want your knee to be over your back foot. That creates a lot of problems. So we can see here that what I've drawn, indicated so far here, what I want is your hands in front of your shoulder, your hands directly over your back foot. You do not want them beyond that. You want to have your arm bent just pretty much exactly like this, and you want to have your knees inside of your foot, okay, and knee inside of your ankle with the gap right in there, just like I did the circle. And you want to be balancing just like how Katiyana is right here. Another thing that I want to see, which is going to help you tremendously with this drill, you want to have a tall backside. Okay, in other words, you don't want your players hunched over and having kind of a look like this with their spine. That creates problems once you get further on with the swing. You want to have a tall backside. And again, whether you're working off the tee or whether you're getting soft toss, you want to be looking straight ahead. And if you are working with the tee, just imagine there's a tee right here. You still want to start this way, and then visualize as you're going to hit the ball off the tee, have your eyes gradually go from here and work down to the tee. That way you don't adjust or make any bad adjustments with your spine. That's very common. Okay, so now that we have all that set up, what I want to do from here, what I tell my students is this. Okay, now we're going to walk away from the hands. And by that I mean this. I'm going to draw a circle here, and this is very important. You want to walk away from the hands. Again, just like I mentioned here, you can see that the hands right now are directly over the back foot. And watch what's going on right here. As she gets into her toe touch, watch her back elbow. It starts to work up, back, and behind her as she gets to toe touch, but her hands stay right there directly over her back foot. Now, watch what's going on right here, and this is very important. Okay, and I'm going to draw some lines for you right here. Now I'm going to change the color here for you so you can see what's going on. Like I mentioned to you, when the player starts off at the apex of the gather, you can see here that there's a little more flexion right now than there should be as the player gets into their toe touch. And by that I mean this. Watch what's going on right here. As Katiyana gets to her toe touch right here, you're going to see that those angles have changed. So you can see here now, I'll do the same thing now, that you can see now that the arm, the lead arm now, there's going to be a less bend in her lead arm. Okay, again, watch the red right here. This is where she starts, and as you walk away from the hands with the back elbow working up, back, and behind you, as you get to toe touch, you should have a different kind of a look. And the reason I say this is because many times what I do when I'm working, what I see when I'm working with players, the players carry their hands with you. They don't keep them back, and what they end up doing is carrying their hands with them. When you do that, you deprive yourself of the proper resistance, the proper pullback. So again, as you're doing this drill, pay attention what's going on right here with her. Again, this apex drill works great with players. And another thing I would highly recommend for you to understand is this, to do is this. As the hands are right here at the apex of the gather, you want to see that your back elbow is out here. In other words, behind the hands, okay? This is, again, what you want to see. Now, again, as we go further on with this drill, as she gets into her toe touch, you want to do it with very smooth tempo. Very smooth tempo. Get to her toe touch with that back elbow working up, back, and behind her, and have the player do this over and over, and ask your student, ask your child, what are you feeling? And what they should be feeling is a pullback of the top hand pulling back and behind them, even into heel plant. Even as they start to get into heel plant, they should still feel pullback, okay? But what I would do if I was working with your child, again, this is a very small picture of the big picture of what you want to do to develop a high-level swing, but this is a great start where you teach the player to have the proper angles at the apex of the gather, so they don't have too much on their plate at first, and then have them get to toe touch with the back elbow working up, back, and behind them. And again, if you ask them what they're feeling, they should be telling you that I'm feeling as though my upper body is working clockwise as the lower body starts to work counterclockwise. But I would start off with first getting to toe touch, and then have them walk away from the hands, and then from there I would work to heel plant, and then I would work to connection, and then I would not even be hitting a ball. I would just have them do this in their room, do it at the park, do it wherever. All you need is yourself and a bat. And again, this drill has helped my students tremendously to improve as far as understanding what it feels like to be at the apex of the gather and understanding proper pullback. I did a 2-hour and 45-minute video explaining this in great detail, and also I have a 20-minute video explaining swing flaws that are the most common. Also, if you buy my video, I'm available free consultations. Give me a like if you enjoyed this video. Thank you.